contribute to the Active Learning Network and what we can, you know, hopefully gain from the Active Learning Network, and it'll be very much a collaborative process. So just while others are joining, it's 5 past, so hopefully they'll be able to join us soon. If I move on to my next slide, let's see. Would help if I didn't move the picture, wouldn't it? Let's see. There we go. So that's us. We've got a satellite steering group at the moment, and that's myself from ADD alongside Natalie, and also Sarah as good practice advisor, and we've got Francis as our academic lead in the satellite steering group as well. But we'd like to hear about you. Welcome to Shalane again. We've just had a wee introduction there, but if you'd like to introduce yourself in the Padlet, and I'm just... Somebody started recording, fantastic, that's good. Let me just pop the Padlet in the chat window for you. And then if everyone could just introduce themselves, that would be super. Okay, so you see we've got 4 columns there, and that's for 4 individual activities, but I think it's really nice as well for Tab to find out who you are, what your background is, and what you hope to get out of today. So we'll just give you a minute to do that. Okay, people are still writing. Okay, thanks, Wendy. E-learning in the dental school. Sam, good to see you. And obviously very busy with the online masters, so hopefully that's all going as well as last time we spoke. And here to find out what the Active Learning Network is about. Yeah, I know you're doing a lot of good stuff for active learning at the vet school. Struggling to find time to innovate. Yes, that's always the challenge. We're firefighting to a great extent, especially during semester. So Shalane, good to see you again. And curriculum advisor for JISC Scotland, great. So lots of good experience there. Ah, Josephine, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
So Josephine used to be at University of Glasgow, and she's also been at Glasgow Caledonian University and is also in the business school. So really good to see you.
Thank you, Vicky.
Okay, and Tab, we'll do you a proper introduction in a second. You downplayed your talents there. Sure, everybody has. Yep, and Francis in school chemistry and higher education research practice and scholarship group. Good. Gail, who's doing some fantastic stuff with active learning for students. Great. Okay, Danielle, another new member of staff, moved from Australia. Exciting. And Alison from Urban Studies, teaching city planning. Yep, so you've done some really nice stuff with active learning too. Mickey, good to see you, part of student learning development. Okay, don't worry too much about adding stuff to the other columns just now, because we'll have an activity where we can chat about that. But that's fantastic. Thank you so much. And if you're still writing, that's super. So I think what we'll do now in the interest of time is just we'll go on and we'll introduce Tab properly now. So Tab's going to give us an introduction to the Active Learning Network, and he's the co-founder of the Active Learning Network. He's a lecturer in higher education pedagogy at the University of Sussex and a learning technology consultant. He teaches on various postgraduate teaching courses and recently served as a Director of Online Learning and Pedagogical Innovation for the Parliamentary Centre of Asia, producing online courses. He's won several awards for his pedagogic collaborations and innovations, not surprisingly, for his enthusiasms and ideas and etc., including for a number of years running the University of Sussex Award for Outstanding or Innovative Teaching. So we're really, really delighted that he's here today, and it's over to you. Hopefully you can share your slides, and I'll stop sharing tabs to allow you to share.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Vicky, for that very enthusiastic and probably overly complimentary introduction. But I'm really delighted to meet you. There's actually quite a few of you I know already, which is great. But first of all, welcome to the Active Learning Network. It's a very exciting space, and it's something that has allowed me to meet some of the most amazing people I've met in education, including quite a few of the people here right now. So what I'd like to begin with, as it is Active Learning Network, I'd like everybody to just, in the chat, could you just think of one word that describes what you think good learning is? Okay, so just one word to summarize what you think good learning is. Great, so we've got engagement, memorable, engaging, participation, empowered, I like that, authentic, relevance, inspiring, democratic, experience, okay, engagement, inspiring. Natalie, you might need to explain that.
It's like it's basically the experience with all senses, so it's like a holistic experience of learning. And I think the closest more recent research and publications get is kind of embodied learning, probably is it closely related.
Beautiful, that's a great one. How do you say that word?
I only know how we say it in German, and that is aesthesis.
Aesthesis, yeah, I was going to go for something like that, so that's a good word. Thank you for sharing it. Lots of good ideas there. Now I want you to look at those words, and I want you to think from 1 to 10. So from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. To what extent do you think higher education is already doing these things to its maximum potential? So 10 being absolutely 100%, we're achieving all of these things. 1 being we're miles and miles away. Wow, interesting, huh? Okay, so some of you might be familiar with the book. There's a book called Start With Why, and it's something I've been reading recently. It's about leadership, but it's by Simon Sinek. And I actually decided to begin the presentation by doing this because I think it illustrates, oh, I like that, Gail, really variable, I agree. I think it illustrates, though, exactly why the Active Learning Network exists. Because look at the numbers we've given. Nobody has given above 7, unless possibly Gail might be sometimes over 7. And we've got right down to 2. So that tells us something, right? There's a lot that could be changed to improve higher education, right? Okay. Could I ask you to just unmute your microphone to tell me whether you agree with that as a sort of summary? Yes or no? Okay, so after 3, I'd like everyone to unmute and say yes or no about whether you think higher education has a long way to go in terms of improving what it does to meet these things. After 3, 1, 2, 3, go.
Yes.
Yes.
So right? We can see that there's a lot of work to be done. And that's why we gather together as a community, so that we can make those things happen. I'm just going to, I was going to share my screen, but it says that it's disabled at the moment. So I might need to be made co-host or something like that.
You should be able to share it now, Tab.
Let me have a go. There we go, yeah. Can you all see my screen? Yeah, great. So the Active Learning Network is basically, it's a global community for revolutionizing learning. And the word revolutionizing is very deliberate because as we've just illustrated, things do need to change, and education changes much too slowly for many of us. And so basically, in 2017, I started a group at my own university to discuss these ideas and think about how can we transform learning. It grew. I met colleagues in other universities, and now we've got satellite groups all around the world. And very exciting, we've got our new one launching today at Glasgow. So there's a couple of things I wanted to do before we go into discussing all of the great questions that our group's prepared today. I wanted to show you a little video which is about what the network does and what it's done already. And it was a presentation that we prepared for the 2021 Global Academic Development Good Practice Award. And we actually ended up winning an award at the ceremony that was based in Australia for the work that we've done. So I'm going to show you that video in a moment. But also, I wanted to talk a little bit about satellite groups and about some of the projects that we've got going on at the moment. So I think actually before I show you the video, I want to show you this Padlet wall. And I took some inspiration from a session that Vicky and Natalie did. I think it was at the Global Festival of Active Learning. Yeah. So I've used this this Padlet map to actually show a little overview of the satellite groups that we've got. So you can see we've got quite a few around the world in different countries. We've got several in Asia. I know we've got a colleague in Singapore here today. We've got some across Europe. We've got some in Nigeria, and obviously the majority at the moment are based in the UK. And I actually have about quite a few others actually that I haven't added to the UK one yet. But you can see that there is a reasonable reach in terms of different satellite groups. And I'm based down here at the University of Sussex. We've got quite a few in the Midlands. We've got one other in Scotland at Abertay University. But I thought it might be fun for us to add our newest one here right now. So I was going to add University of Glasgow. And I was going to add a little image, so you can let me know which of the images it comes up with you think seems like a good one. Anyone see one of these that looks like a good one?
I quite like the tree tab because it symbolizes growth.
Love it. That's a good suggestion. Let's go with that. Okay. So there we go. We've got our newest satellite group added to the map. And next, what I'm going to do is show you this short video. It's about 7 minutes long. And it also allows you to hear from some of the other members of the Active Learning Network, and it probably give you a taste of what the Active Learning Network is all about. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second, just re-share with the sound.
to our presentation about the Active Learning Network. Hello and welcome.
Can everybody hear the sound on that? Can I get somebody to unmute and just confirm?
Yeah,
verbally?
that was sounding okay.
Great, great. Okay, I'll just make it full screen.
Hello and welcome to our presentation about the Active Learning Network. We're a global community, but a few of us got together to make this presentation. If you want to know more, visit activelearningnetwork.com or follow us on Twitter.
The Active Learning Network is a global community for radically transforming learning. It is the antidote to traditional teaching and assessment that can still be quite conformist.
The Active Learning Network is for anyone with an interest in learning and teaching. With communication and collaboration through the various satellite groups, it supports academics, students, educational developers, and learning technologists. Students benefit from deeper learning experiences, staff benefit from professional development, and universities benefit from improved outcomes, recognition, and international partnership.
So what are the underpinning principles?
Active learning encompasses a broad set of ideas connected around principles that position learning at the centre of pedagogic practices.
But of course it's important that learning is also inclusive and experiential. We are a community of practice, but we also promote the use of communities of practice, each of our satellite groups. And this is also based on the idea of co-creation of knowledge, this idea of social constructivism, which underpins everything that we do. So how does it work? Well, we have institution and students and staff, and those feed into a global community where these different institutions come together. Each one has satellite leads which set up satellite groups, so smaller communities within the institution.
And it means that institutions can benefit from the innovation that is apparent. That in itself feeds back into the global community, making this a very true open resource for everybody.
What makes it distinctive? Well, we have a truly global reach. We've got satellite groups all around the world, UK, Nigeria, Greece, Cambodia, China, and many other places. We also have the world's first global festival of active learning. Uniquely, we focus on radical co-creation. So we have open access collaborative book sprint publications like these two books here. We also pioneered the idea of a podblast where people get together to create an entire podcast series in one afternoon through collaboration. We promote disruptive pedagogic practice, so we're not satisfied with the traditional modes in higher education. We use things like critical pedagogy, immersive 360 multimedia galleries, choose your own adventure web quests.
Finally, it's the open source approach that makes ALN distinctive, that includes promoting non-competitive sharing of knowledge and resources between institutions, as well as staff and students. It has won multiple awards with projects such as the Padlet project, and it challenges and disrupts paradigms in higher education.
So how do we promote excellence?
Within the Active Learning Network, we are all very proud of how we support excellence in learning and teaching for our members. We create a wide range of opportunities for leadership and CPD.
This enables them to gain these things like awards, fellowships, and HEA case studies and national teaching fellowships. So we do this through sharing and innovation, things like our international CPD and online masterclasses.
We work together and produce a lot of resources that are openly available for anyone with an interest in active learning. We take the opportunity to also pass on the learning from our international network to our local networks.
It has been having an impact on the local level too, through bilateral communication channels between the wider network and the local networks where they pass the learning forward. It has also been contributing to continuing professional development through other means too, such as the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning Innovation Lab and peer mentoring.
So in terms of our global impact, we have this map here which shows the global reach of the ALM website by country. We've got over 360 members, over 25 satellite groups, 17,300 website views from 138 countries, over 2,000 different people accessing the open access publications that we've created. 1,852 people signed up for our global Festival of Active Learning.
We have held 5 annual conferences with a combined 920 attendees, and we have attractive sponsorship from companies such as Sony, TeleElevate, and InterDashboard.
So what is next for us? We invite you to join the revolution. We want you to become an Active Learning Network institutional lead and set up your own satellite group. Coming soon, we've got the Active Learning Manifesto. We've got a book with over 100 chapters from authors around the world. We've got the International Repository of Active Learning. And in the next year or two, we aim to broaden global reach with twice as many institutions in different countries, to create a global podcast with interviews and panel discussions. And in the next 3 to 5 years, we aim to launch a global Active Learning Fellowship Scheme. We're now going to conclude by playing a short video showcasing the impact of international CPD delivered by members of the Active Learning Network community.
There is more to active learning than just having a plan to go and teach in the class, and I think we have learned a lot about the background story here.
We teach parliamentary staff all over Southeast Asia.
Often create some active learning activity like group discussion, individual reflection. I also use a quiz like Kahoot and Poll Everywhere at the end of my class.
In Japan, unlike other countries, most of Japanese students don't ask a question or say something while taking a class.
They are encouraged to take more risks, they're encouraged to write down their data in a more rigorous way.
My favorite training activity is role play because it is a good way as a trainer to assess to what extent they have understood or integrated their learning.
Divide them into different groups and start a competition between different groups. So the students, they all want to be winners because winners got prizes.
We talk about flipped classroom, we talk about blended learning, we talk about multimedia.
Because the teacher also needs to learn.
Okay. So you might kind of, I guess the thing with anything like this, where we're doing a presentation for an award or something, it definitely sounds, it sounds like we're this, huge organization that has done all these things. And to some extent that's true, but also we're about little pockets and little communities, which is what we're building here, and just sharing the good things that we're doing and learning from each other, as we've already done so far. So I just want to conclude by saying that there are a couple of opportunities to get involved in things that are happening now. So for example, we have the Global Festival of Active Learning, and the call for proposals is out for that, and it's going to be at the end of April. So I will copy the link to that and I'll put that in the chat. And then there's I'll just pop that in the chat for you. So there's that. We're also putting together this book with over 100 chapters, which we will be doing a kind of next iteration of. So if you wanted to write a chapter for the next iteration, then that would be great. We've also got our blog on our website, and we've put together, we've published a couple of open access books. So there's this one that we did at the University of Sussex, and there is another which we did at Anglia Ruskin University, and perhaps that might be something you want to do at Glasgow as well, to put together a book of kind of good practice that's happening at the university. The other thing is I'm currently gathering short videos of about 2 minutes in length each, with kind of ideas for teaching that are linked to different dimensions from the UK Professional Standards Framework, so that we can build up a kind of bank of different perspectives of tips for people teaching in different disciplines and different contexts. So if you wanted to create a 2-minute video to contribute to that, that would be another area where you could feed into it. And the other thing is that we have these different leadership opportunities. So we have a spreadsheet where different members of the community sign up to take a lead on different things. So whether that's Active Learning Manifesto, website, book, podcast, other things like that. So there's opportunities if you do want to get involved to kind of take leadership on a project that you're interested in. So that's it. I'll leave it there. But thank you very much for including me today.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Tab. And I think that was a very enthusiastic presentation that's kind of galvanizes into action, which is great. So now's a good time, I think, unless does anybody have any immediate questions for Tab, first of all? Nope, nothing immediate straight away. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll have questions later. Okay, so I think the first breakout activity would be a good time to start that now. I don't really need to share my slides because we've got the prompts on the Padlet, which you should all have access to. And I'll just pop that in the chat again, just to make sure that you've got it. I'll share my screen of the Padlet. I think that would be the best thing to do. So let's see. So we've got 4 columns. So if you haven't already introduced yourself, I saw a couple of people joining a couple of minutes later, so good to have you on board. Feel free to introduce yourself in the first column. And then this first activity, we'll spend probably about several minutes on this, maybe 7-8 minutes on it. Really what we'll do is we'll put you into just small breakout rooms and you can have a chat and then just add ideas to this column. What do we want from the ALN? So Tab's already given us a really good idea of the sorts of things that ALN could help us with. So I think what we'll do is we'll open some breakout rooms. Sarah, how many breakout rooms do you think we should have?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 4?
4? Okay, let's go for 4.
4 sounds about right, doesn't it? Or 5, I don't know. 4.
Let's go for 4 and then we've got a decent number.
Yes.
So we'll assign you automatically and then you know, Sarah, Francis, myself, Natalie will hopefully join independent groups. We'll probably all join the same group because that sort of thing happens. But let's open them now. Okay, so we've got a good number of people in each room. So I can pop into room 1. Sarah, do you want to pop into room 2? Natalie, room 3. Oh, I see Francis is already in room 3. Okay, Natalie's already in room 4. Look, they're way ahead of us. Okay, so you should have got an invite to join the group.
Right, I'm off to room 2 then.
Okay, I'll see you shortly. Thanks, Sarah. Okay, Arturo, are you you're in room 2? Have you got the invitation to join? Oh, you're muted. welcome back, everybody. I think that's just about everybody coming back into the room. So I'm going to pass over to Sarah now for the next part of the workshop.
Oh, good grief. What do you want me to do, Vicky? I'm not going to try and summarise all of the millions of things we've got there, because I'm blown away by how many ideas.
Yeah,
I think we're all getting a sense that it's something that we want to do around networking and joining up with other people. I know in our room we had this idea that we were really excited to be joining a global community that was more than just a group of people. It was just a group of people who were going to get things done.
Great. And we've got a big heart from Alison there as well in response to that, so that's really good.
Yeah. Desktop there, if you go to File,
oh,
to down bottom Options on the left hand side.
Somebody's not muted. Okay. Oh, okay, not to worry. I think we're going to go into the next breakout room anyway. So Sarah, I think you were going to introduce this. I think in the interest of time, we might roll the next two together. What do you think?
I think absolutely. So just a few minutes just to say what we think we can offer to the network. And I say offer as personally as individuals or offer as an institution. And I think that actually fits in with ideas for activities and ideas for activities that we could do at a local level and ideas maybe for activities that we could offer as well. So, yep, back into our breakout rooms. And should we say just 5 minutes, Vicky?
Yeah, I think 5 minutes are good. Yeah, that's a good time. So let's do that. I'll open the breakout rooms again.
Thank you. I'll go back to room 2.
Okay, I'll go back to room 1. Haven't seen you for ages.
Oh, we're the first back.
Yeah. I think Sarah was quite keen that we got everybody back so we could do a summary and bring Tab back to kind of close the meeting. It is a really friendly community, which is really nice, which is good. You find that with a lot of these learning communities, they're just so supportive and encouraging. And Arturo, that's been your experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And also inspiring.
Sorry, Arturo.
No, it's the way Tab runs the seminars or talks. I'm trying now to do the same. so good practices.
Great. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We've got Sarah's group back.
Linnea, Caroline.
You're all back. Okay. Yes. Does anybody want to share any particular insights that have come out or summarise what's happened in their group? Are we all needing coffee now?
We talked about, so it was Natalie and who else is in my group? Gail and Wendy. Yeah, and we just talked briefly about trying to find out actually what was going on across the institution. So we thought about it from a Glasgow perspective, and within Glasgow, what is going on, and tried to think about how we might uncover some of that before we approached it with, because there could be some great interventions already. There could be some, like I think Gail, you were saying, like, which are, you know, fairly standard, but are great and don't require innovation, but just trying to uncover that first of all. And yeah, what else did we talk about, Natalie? What else did we talk about?
Sorry, need to find the unmute button. Yeah, we were also talking about kind of maybe even doing some research, or Mickey liked the idea with the podcast, and thinking about we already have a podcast which we could potentially repurpose into learning, teaching, and scholarship podcast. So we have, you know, we have everything in one place instead of having 25,000 different sources. And we all agree that there's already a lot of good practice going on at the university, and it's about maybe bringing it together and sharing it with colleagues globally to see, look at all the amazing stuff we are already doing, and being able to kind of amplify the voices a little bit and share and find collaboration maybe internationally as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think that resonates with what was discussed in our group as well. Certainly the idea of podcasts as a way to hear authentic voices and authentic stories. And I think you're absolutely right. There's so much good stuff happening across the university, and it's we're so lucky that Sarah's in this role of good practice advisor will be able to work with everyone to help pull that together. So that'll be fantastic. We've just got a few minutes. Okay, Carolyn, good to see you. So Tab, I just think perhaps to close with your thoughts and reflections and what's come out. I mean, we've obviously got quite a lot of material on the Padlet as well. So over to you.
Vicky, can I just say we need to plug the ALPS teams as well, and we'll send everybody a link to that in case they're not already members.
We do, yeah, we'll do that, yeah.
Sorry, over to you, Tab.
No, that's brilliant. I love all of the ideas that have come out. I learned a lot about some of the good things that's happening, good things that are already happening at Glasgow, and you know, we haven't actually launched the Active Learning Network podcast yet, and we've got a couple of people in the network who are really interested in it, but it sounds like that's something that's of interest here as well. So if people would like to be involved in that, we are looking for you know, some participation and leadership in that area, and it could be a really good opportunity as well in terms of evidencing what you're contributing to the wider, you know, community. So yeah, I'm very excited actually, just about, let me find this. Where's my Padlet wall? There we go. I'm just going to say there's so many things in here that I'd like to follow up on, but I think supporting each other with, you know, writing up our practice more, supporting each other with either like mentorship and career development. So something we do is we run a session every Friday where we get together and support each other with sort of professional development. And if you're doing fellowship applications, or if you're doing job applications, or you just want some advice about how to develop your scholarship, then we're doing that. But also things like, it might be fun for us to pair you up with some people in some of the other institutions, right, and learn from each other. And podcasts are a good way to sort of network too, aren't they? Because it allows us to meet new people and sort of build those relationships, because you're having those conversations around teaching and learning. So that's a good point, actually, about the different networks and the internal networks that you've got at Glasgow as well, because I don't know much about ALPS, so I'd like to know more about what's going on with that.
Yeah, so just to summarise very briefly, ALPS was just a kind of generic kind of overview community in terms of active learning, practice and scholarship. So it was trying to pull together that practice and scholarship, and that was just a university-wide approach. But then obviously we sort of realised that there was great things happening in the active learning network, and so becoming a satellite group would actually help us to achieve some of our goals. SOTL, that initiative has been led by Natalie in partnership with a number of colleagues here today. So there's a number of active communities, and yeah, I think it's good that we perhaps have a look at them and see how they all interface. I think, Sarah, you'll have some good thoughts on that in terms of good practice, but we'd also really welcome your thoughts as a whole. Francis, have you got any sort of thoughts? I'm aware that I haven't called on your good self today.
No, I think it was really nice just to bounce ideas around, and already we started kind of sharing good practice within the breakout room, which was really, really nice. And we were talking about even trying to do scholarship, and sometimes the problems, trying to collect data and the number of responses you get, and why not put surveys out to other members of the network and things as well, and do some collaborations that way. So I think there's lots and lots of potential. And we're also saying it's just nice to talk to like-minded people, and it sparks some enthusiasm, because sometimes you do get bogged down in the day-to-day stuff, and it's really nice just to kind of share some ideas.
Yeah, that's great. I think that research collaboration is also so important in terms of getting generalizability and being able to compare findings and things as well. So some great ideas today. So we're just a minute to go. Does anybody have any other questions? Any comments?
I think we discussed it might be nice to do something about setting up a database of expertise that people have, and then possibly doing something like we did for the unconference, where we have a person of expertise at different tables, and then people can come in and just chat with them just to get an idea of what they've done and how to get started, or just that initial traction to help people.
Okay.
And it could be on the back of the Remo.
Yeah, we might do something for the Learning and Teaching Conference, Lydia, on the day before, like when we're doing the SOTL stuff.
That's such a good idea. We could do that for the network as well. Like we could have an online event where people can choose their own breakout room, and we could have people with expertise in different areas, and you could choose which discussion you wanted to join.
Okay, or choose your own adventure, because every discussion's an adventure, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay, great stuff. I think that's a super note to end on. Any closing remarks, Tab, or are we all good to go?
Just thank you so much, everybody, for being passionate about what you do and wanting to be involved. And I really look forward to getting to know you all better, and to working on projects together and creating new things, and helping each other to keep learning, basically.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you so much, Tab. Really great to have you just open our first meeting here, and the first of many meetings, hopefully. Okay, thanks very much, everybody. We'll let you go and grab some lunch, coffee, fresh air, and have a good day.
And thank you all. See you all soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.